Section 2. Landforms and Water Resources. Types of landforms. The Earth has a great variety of landforms, from mountains that soar miles high to lowlands that barely peak above the sea. These landforms appear not only on continents, but also under the oceans. On land. Mountains are huge towers of rock and are the highest landforms. Some mountains may be only a few thousand feet high. Others can soar higher than 20,000 feet, 6,096 meters. The world's highest mountain is Mount Everest in South Asia's Himalaya ranges. It rises more than 29,028 feet, 8,848 meters, nearly 5.5 miles high. Hills are lower and more rounded than mountains. Between mountains and hills lie valleys. A valley is a long stretch of land that is lower than the land on either side. Flatlands occur in one of two forms, depending on their height above sea level. Plains are flat lowlands, typically found along coasts and lowland river valleys. Plateaus are flatlands at higher elevations. Geographers define some landforms by their relationship to other landforms or to bodies of water. Look back at the Geographic Dictionary in the Reference Atlas to see examples of the following landforms. An isthmus is a narrow strip of land that connects two larger landmasses and has water on two sides. An example is Central America, which connects North and South America. A peninsula, such as Florida, is a piece of land that is connected to a larger landmass on one side, but has water on the other three sides. A body of land that is smaller than a continent and completely surrounded by water is an island. Under the oceans. Off each coast of a continent lies a plateau called a continental shelf that stretches for several miles underwater. At the edge of the shelf, the land drops down sharply to the ocean floor. On the ocean floor, tall mountains thousands of miles wide line the edges of ocean plates that are pulling apart. Tectonic activity also makes deep cuts in the ocean floor called trenches. The Mariana Trench in the western Pacific Ocean is the deepest. It plunges 36,198 feet, 11,033 meters, below sea level. Humans and landforms. Humans settle on all types of landforms. People choose a place to live based on a number of factors. Climate, the average temperature and rainfall of a region, is one factor that people must consider. The availability of resources is another factor. People settle where they can get fresh water and where they can grow food, catch fish, or raise animals. The water planet. Earth is sometimes called the water planet because so much of it, about 70% of the surface, is covered with water. Water exists in many different forms. Streams, rivers, lakes, seas, and oceans contain water in liquid form. The atmosphere holds water vapor or water in the form of gas. Glaciers and ice sheets are masses of water that have been frozen solid. Salt water. All of the oceans on Earth are part of a huge continuous body of salt water. Almost 97% of the planet's water is salt water. Oceans have smaller arms or areas that are called seas, bays, or gulfs. These larger bodies of salt water can be linked to oceans by the more narrow bodies called straits or channels. Freshwater. Only 3% of the water on Earth is freshwater. Much of this fresh water is frozen in ice that covers polar regions and parts of mountains. Some is groundwater, which filters through the soil into the ground. Groundwater often gathers in aquifers. These are underground layers of rock through which water flows. People can pump the fresh water from aquifers. Only a tiny amount of all the water in the world is found in lakes and rivers. This water is often not safe to drink until it has been purified. Large inland bodies of water are called lakes. Most lakes are freshwater lakes. Long, flowing bodies of water are called rivers. They begin at a source and end at a mouth. The mouth is the place where a river empties into another body of water, such as an ocean or a lake. The largest rivers often have many tributaries, which are separate streams or rivers that feed into them. Many rivers form deltas at their mouths. A delta is an area where a river breaks into many different streams flowing toward the sea. Rivers often carry rich soil to their deltas and deposit it, building up the land. The water cycle. The total amount of water on Earth does not change. It does not stay in one place either. Instead, the water moves constantly. In a process called the water cycle, the water goes from the oceans to the air, to the ground, and finally back to the oceans. Look at Figure 3 to see how the water cycle works. The sun's heat drives the water cycle because it evaporates the water on the Earth's surface. This evaporation changes water from liquid to a gas called water vapor. Water vapor rises from the Earth's oceans and other bodies of water and then circulates into the atmosphere. The air's temperature determines how much water the air holds. Warm air holds more water vapor than cool air. When the air temperature drops low enough, condensation takes place. In this process, water changes from gas back to a liquid. Tiny droplets of water form in the air, although they are suspended in clouds. When conditions in the atmosphere are right, these water droplets fall to the ground as some form of precipitation. This can be rain, snow, sleet, or hail. The form of precipitation depends on the temperature of the surrounding air. Completing the cycle is the process called collection. The water collects on the ground and in rivers, lakes, and oceans. There it evaporates to begin the cycle again.